So tonight's Pride Month film was 1988's Torch Song Trilogy, which is an adaptation of the play by the same name by Harvey Fierstein. Fierstein stars in this adaptation, and he wrote the screenplay. It's directed by Paul Bogart. It follows about 9 years in the life of Fierstein's character, Arnold. You follow him from 1971 through 1980 and three very distinct periods in his life. In 1971, he's working in a drag show in New York. He goes to a bar with a friend and meets a man named Ed, who is bisexual, and this will cause some strife in their relationship. Not only is he bisexual, but he's also sort of ashamed of the male attraction he has. And so he keeps Arnold hidden. He continually looks for companionship in women, even though probably on the Kinsey scale he's a little closer to gay than he is to bisexual, but he's not going to say that. And the one thing I wanna like point out as someone who is pansexual, because I don't really like the term bisexual, but I definitely think showcasing characters like that is important when they're dealing with their inability to understand themselves and especially in 1971 feeling ashamed for their sexuality. But unfortunately, I think this is part of what has caused bisexual erasure, as well as a joke I used to hear when I was in college, which was that bi means, by the way, I'm gay, because that's not true. So just wanted to footnote that real quick. The second sequence, after he's broken up with Ed, and he's trying to get his life back in order, he meets a young male model, as we all do, named Alan, played by Matthew Broderick, who at first he doesn't think he's gay, and also Arnold, having just had his heart broken, is a little wary of his advances, and plays a little hard to get, and there's some very romantic moments as Alan is trying to woo Arnold, including, so Arnold's apartment is decorated completely with bunnies, and I want to pull something, hold on. My apartment is decorated with flamingos because I love flamingos, and I have flamingos all over my house, and that's how Arnold's apartment is, but with bunnies. There's bunnies everywhere. So at one point, non-sexually, Alan ends up spending the night at Arnold's because he passes out at an event, and he wakes up and Arnold has made him breakfast, and he's pouring him tea with a bunny teapot. It's amazing. And he has a bunny creamer and all kinds of stuff. And so the next day when Alan is trying to convince Arnold to go to dinner with him, he brings him a bunny. He brings him a bunny. It's amazing. So the rest of the film follows their relationship that lasts about 6 years, including one disastrous weekend trip visiting Ed and his now girlfriend, Laurel. However, this relationship does not end well and showcases how, and this is obviously less of a problem for gay men now, but still a problem for the queer community, and very much a problem in 1979 when this was set. They move into a new apartment because they're adopting a teenage boy, and he has to have his own room. And unfortunately, they move into not the safest neighborhood, and something happens. Let's just put it that way. Targeted violence happens. I cried a lot. It was intense. It was an intense moment because that third of the film, that middle section, feels like a romantic comedy, and then it ends abruptly and violently, and I think that's an honest portrait of gay life and queer life, and I'm glad it was in there, but it was also really heart-wrenching. So the final section of the film, he's adopted his son. He may or may not be getting back with Ed, who's trying to get his life together, trying to understand who he is sexually, and then his mother visits. And he has a lot of talking to do to his mother, a lot of talking to do with his mother, a lot of his mother having to come and understand him, but a lot of him having to understand his mother. And that whole sequence is amazing because his mother is played by Anne Bancroft, and she is one of the great actresses of all time. And as the film ends, you see that Arnold is going to have, hopefully, the life he's planned for himself, that he wants, that he's dreamed of. It's not 100% what he wanted it to be, but it's as close as he's going to get. And it's 1980. And I think that's an important moment because it's 1980, which is right before the AIDS epidemic and the AIDS crisis. And so you see a decade of struggle for acceptance and love and home life and a life that is of value and of respect. And that was the battle. Not being attacked at night, having your parents understand and love and support you, finding a love who's not ashamed of himself. That was the battle. And then it ends right in a place of hope, right before you hit the AIDS crisis. And I feel like this coming out in 1988, the play having come out in 1983, the film coming out in 1988 was an important moment to look at what the struggles were and where you are now, and maybe perhaps where it could eventually go. Harvey Fierstein is amazing in this. Obviously, he wrote this material and knows this character inside out, and he's so good. The stage play is apparently 4 hours, and I want to watch it and find it. And I feel like I've seen a scene of it before because there was a scene in it that was really familiar to me, and I feel like I must have seen it at a variety show or something where someone did the scene, because I know I'd seen that dialogue somewhere before. He was nominated for an Independent Spirit Award for his performance. He did not win. This came out the same year as Stand and Deliver, I believe. And so a lot of the awards that year at the ceremony went to that film, which is another great film. Where was I going with this? Harvey Fierstein. This is on Filmstruck, so you can watch it. It's there through September, so you've got a couple months, but you should watch it for Pride Month anyways. Can't believe I had never seen it before. I'm so glad I finally got to see it. It's so lovely, and I felt every single emotion. I felt joy, I felt scared, I felt happy, I felt sad, I felt romance. Everything I want in a movie was in this movie. Community, romance, ambition, hopes, dreams. It's all there. Standing up for yourself. It's just a beautiful film. So this is Torch Song Trilogy. It's from 1988. I highly recommend it. It's a lovely film. It might make you cry, bring some tissues. But it will leave you on a happy note. And so I'm going to leave this on a happy note. And I'm going to show you my flamingo one more time. I love flamingos so much. You have no idea. Unless you've been to my house, and then you know. So this is Torch Song Trilogy. It's directed by Paul Bogart, written and starring Harvey Fierstein. It is fantastic. You can watch it on Filmstruck. I highly recommend that you do.